Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Putra, and today I'm gonna make a video of a presentation of implementation of automatic room heater system. It arranged by myself, Muhammad Putra, and Timothy Theoporin. And what will be discussed in today's video, the first is automatic room heater quick overview, and then the component of the heater, and then how automatic room heater system works. And first I'm gonna share the screen. Okay, next, automatic room heater quick overview. What is automatic room heater? Well, automatic room heater is like a device that used to heat up in areas such as room, house, or even large place like a building. Uh, the original room heater powered by coals and wood and other vulnerable substances. So today we're not gonna talk about it. Today I'm gonna talk about the room heater that powered by electricity. Next, I'm gonna explain the component of the heater. The first is step down transformer, and then rectifier diode, which make the alternate current to a direct current. And then next, resistor, voltage regulators, LEDs, electrical capacitor to store the electricity, switch power, and this microcontroller is the chipset that we use in this automatic room heater system. And then next is crystal oscillator, temperature sensor, relay, transistor, light bulb, DC fan, which is we seen in many computers, LCD display, keypad, variable resistor, reset push button micro switch, and then a capacitor. Next, I'm going to explain you about the major part of the system. The first, which is the power supply, and then it goes all the way. No, we have two choice. The first is the sensor which detect the temperature outside, or user defined input, which is we input by myself. And then next it goes to temperature or control unit, and then next which it goes to driver and switching unit, and then it goes to output. Next, I'm gonna explain you about automatic room heater system flowchart, or we can say the rundown. The first, we start this automatic room heater system, and then it initialize variables, keypad, and LCD. And next, it display automatic room heater control system, and then prompt the user to enter the reference of the temperature outside. And then it reads the voltage value from the sensor, which is it detects the temperature outside, and then it display the sensor temperature value and the reference value, and then next the prompt the user to enter the symbol in order to continue the automatic room heater. And if the reference temperature is lower than room temperature, the heater switch on, and if the reference temperature is higher than room temperature, the fan switch on. So that is the flowchart of automatic room heater system. And then next we goes to the automatic room heater system pseudocode. What is this PIC 16877A? It it defines the our microcontroller or chipset to program this automatic room heater. First, we initialize the ports and the variables, and it reads the temperature from the analog sensor, the sensor which is detect the temperature outside, and then the users input the reference temperature, and then display both actual temperature and the reference temperature, and compare the reference with the actual temperature. So if the temperature reference is less than actual temperature, the heater will switch on, and if the temp is that if the temporal reference is greater than actual temperature, the fan is switched on. So the next automatic room heater simulation, it, my friends Timothy Teopuring will uh, explain about it. So uh, maybe that's it from me. And if my word is not like perfect or my English is not perfect, I'm sorry about it. So thank you, everyone.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Timothy Denioto Teopuring. Now I'm going to carry on where Arvito left off. This is, as you can see on the screen, this is the circuit diagram of the automatic room heater control system. This diagram shows all the components used in the system. So remember that above there's a pseudocode. That pseudocode is converted into C programming language and then pass on through the PIC16F877A through an application called micro C for PIC microcontroller. So after this system is turned on, it will prompt to ask users preferred preferred room temperature. Now, the user have to put in his or her preferred room temperature by using the keypad on the right. Now, this keypad is connected from RB0 port until RB7 port. So after the user put enter their preferred room temperature, it will display on the LCD, the LM016 LCD, which is connected from the RCO until the RC5 ports. So, for example, the user uh, enter 12 degrees Celsius. Now the microcontroller will send a set of instructions to the heat sensor to tell it to measure the current room temperature if it's already lower or it is higher. So the sensor itself is connected with the crystal oscillator from the through the OSCU1 port until the RA0 port. Now this microcontroller, this sensor also connected to a push button, and the push button is connected to the microcontroller through MCLR port. Now, if after the sensor have finished measuring the current room temperature, it will send the result back to the microcontroller and then show and display it into the LCD. So now as you can see here, the user put 12 degrees Celsius while the current room temperature is 9.27 degrees Celsius, which is lower. So the microcontroller already know this, then the microcontroller will send a set of instructions through RD1 port on the right, below right. It will go through the heater on the bottom right. So it will turn on the heater. So as the heater turn on, it will raise up the room temperature to 9.27. Now, what if the user put the preferred room temperature actually lower than the current room temperature? So, for example, they put 8 as the room temperature and then press hashtag to actually enter it to the microcontroller. So the microcontroller again will tell the temperature sensor to measure current room temperature and then send it back to the microcontroller and then display it on the screen. After that, if the microcontrollers know that the preferred temperature is actually lower than the room temperature, then it will send a set of instruction to the cooler through RDO ports. The cooler or the fan is on the right, so it will turn on the fan, so it will help lower the room temperature. In conclusion, we've now described the design and simulation of the system. It uses a low cost and energy saving microcontroller called PIC16F877A and an ordinary heat sensor called LM35. Now this microcontroller carry a set of instruction. This set of instruction tell it to us users preferred room temperature, and then after the user have to put it in, if the user's preferred temperatures is actually higher than the current room temperature, it will turn on the heater. If it's actually lower than the current room temperature, then the microcontroller will send a set of instruction to turn on the heater. So in conclusion, this system is I mean for suggestion, the system is not is far from perfect, but this system can be used in place like in big infrastructure like hospital server room or even food industries, and then maybe on farms and gardens and many more. So this microcontroller is actually this automatic heaters room control heating system is actually cheap and compactable, and will and can be used in certain 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 place and in specific place too. So thank you for listening. My name is Timothy Dinito Teopuring. If there's any flaw or mistake or any word that might not be pleasant, please forgive us. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.